Good morning, everyone. We have covered up to importation, exportation, and the customs law. Now we'll go ahead. The next thing which we are going to study over there is warehousing. So let us start with warehousing now. In this attempt from May 22 onwards, warehousing has been introduced back in your syllabus. So it was there earlier, then it was removed for some time, and now again they have introduced this warehousing in your syllabus. So let us consider what do you mean by warehousing over here. Quite a lot of things we have already studied about warehousing. So quick recap about the same what we had studied in the earlier chapters. Okay, what is this? Sir, India. Okay, when the goods come from outside India to India, okay, at the customs station, if we want, we don't want to get it cleared for home consumption, but temporarily deposit in the warehouse, then what we have to file? Tell me. You know, into bond bill of entry or ex bond bill of entry? You have to file into bond bill of entry. That is, you will give the bond basically into bond bill of entry for warehousing. So when you find into bond bill of entry for warehousing, officer will check, etc. You will have to furnish the bond over there. Sir, how much bond we have to furnish? That we are going to study in this chapter, but I'll tell you, thrice the amount of duty. How much? Thrice the amount of duty. That much bond you have to give. Why? We will consider that. Okay. Do you have to pay duty when you file into bond bill of entry, or you have to give the bond? You have to give just the bond, and then you can deposit the goods in the warehouse. Then you can deposit the goods. Obviously, you will file bill of entry. This is importer will file. Then the officer will pass a order. What officer will pass a order? Okay, please deposit in the warehouse. Then you will deposit in the warehouse. How many of you understood this? Yes, sir, we understood. Okay, so importer will file into bond bill of entry. Proper officer will pass order for warehouse, and then you will deposit in the warehouse. Now in future, from warehouse, what all things you can do? In future, sir, from warehouse we can clear for home consumption. So at that time, do you have to pay duties and taxes? Yes, sir, we have to pay duties and taxes. Okay, now at this point, when you want to clear it from warehouse, what you will have to file? Anyone? Into bond or ex bond? We'll have to file ex bond bill of entry. That is bill of entry for home consumption. Okay. Okay, now the questions that will come in your mind is, sir, for how much time goods can remain in warehouse? Does that question come in your mind, that how much time we can keep it in warehouse? Okay. Next question that can come is, why to keep in warehouse? Okay, next is, sir, is there any interest which we have to pay because we are going to clear it later for home consumption? At that time, duties and taxes is going to be there. So, do we have to pay interest? So, how much time the goods can remain in warehouse? Why warehousing has to be done? Is interest to be required to be paid, etc. Sir, instead of clearing for home consumption, can we export? Can we export from warehouse? Can we relinquish the title in warehouse? What do you mean by relinquish? Abandon. Abandonment, can it be done in the warehouse? That's the question. So there are so many questions which we are going to answer over there. Further, sir, for this warehousing, what are going to be the relevant dates? Relevant date for rate of duty, relevant date for tariff valuation, etc. What is the relevant date? Then what is the relevant date for rate of exchange? All these questions we are going to clear over there. But we have to understand, when we import the goods as an importer, if we don't want to clear the goods immediately, we can file into bond bill of entry for the purpose of warehousing. We can request the proper officer that we can deposit the goods in the warehouse. Proper officer, if he thinks everything is proper, you have furnished proper amount of bond, he'll pass order for warehousing, where you can take the goods from the custom station and deposit that goods in the warehouse. Okay, at from warehouse in future, can you remove? So yes, ex bond bill of entry for whom consumption is filed. At that time, you have to pay the duties and taxes. Okay. Any doubt till here? Can I go ahead? Now, what are the different types of warehouse? Anyone aware about this? Types of warehouse. There's something as public warehouse. There's something as private warehouse, and there is something known as special warehouse. So that also we are going to study, that what do you mean by public warehouse, what do you mean by private warehouse, what do you mean by special warehouse, who can store the goods in the public warehouse, who can store the goods in private warehouse, who can store the goods in special warehouse. Next, one more thing which we are going to study. See, I'm just trying to analyze the things which we are going to study in this chapter. Okay. Can you do any manufacturing or processing in warehouse? That is also a question. So many questions in my mind. Can you do manufacturing processing in warehouse? What are the different type of warehouse? Who can store, etc., etc. So should we go and find out answers for all of this? Yes, ready? Everyone? Okay. First thing which I'll do is the thing which I've already taught you. Now I'll just try to brush up. Okay. Maybe you other students might also have studied that in the earlier chapters. That is the relevant date. Relevant date is already taught to you. Now, relevant date concept for what? For the rate of duty and tariff valuation. Relevant date for rate of duty and tariff valuation in case of imported goods. In case of imported goods which are warehoused, let us consider that. So what do you mean by relevant date? Whatever relevant date we get, on that date whatever is the rate of duty we'll consider, on that date whatever is the tariff valuation we are going to consider. We are going to revise it for imported goods which are warehoused. So anyone, what is the relevant date? Can you tell me? We have studied in the earlier chapter. Sir, bill of entry for home consumption is presented. Excellent answer over there. Date of presentation. Date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption. What do you mean by this? Date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption. Is it into bond or is it ex bond bill of entry which we are considering? Answer is this. Relevant date is the date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption. Is it into bond? This is basically ex bond bill of entry, sir. Everyone, will you remember this? Yes, sir. Next thing which I want to make you all recollect. What is the relevant date for rate of exchange? What is the relevant date for rate of exchange for imported goods? Relevant date for rate of exchange for imported goods which are warehoused. Any answer on this? Any answer on this? Because what we'll do is we'll consider the rate of exchange of that date, because every day the rate of exchange, different dates the rate of exchange can change. So we'll find out the relevant date. Okay. Sir, date of filing bill of entry. Date of filing bill of entry. Now, what do you mean by date of filing bill of entry over here? Sir, should we consider into bond bill of entry? Should we consider ex bond bill of entry? Interpretation part of it. This is the answer. Interpretation part of it. Basically, over here you have to consider into bond bill of entry. The first time which you file. For customs to warehouse. From customs station to warehouse, that one. Okay, now which rate you have to consider? CBIC rate, RBI rate, which rate you have to consider? Anyone? So, rate of exchange is going to be CBIC rate. So this is what we have already studied. I just made you all recollect so that when a sum comes in custom, and something is asked about this, will you be able to answer it? Yes or no? Next. So, can you answer particular questions which you have asked over here in the first slide? Yes. So, one by one we are starting. In that, one answer is done. Which answer is done? Relevant date. Next what I'll do is, why warehousing? Why a person is going to warehouse? Okay, there's no section on this, but you need to try to logically imagine that you get an opportunity of keeping the goods in the warehouse instead of getting it cleared, and you may get it cleared later on, and duties payable at that time, etc. So what might be the reason? The reason might be that you wanted let us say only 100 quantity of some goods, but based on the restrictions, based on economies of scale, and based on a lot of international requirements, you had to compulsorily import maybe let us say 150 or 200 quantities of goods. Then only it would make sense. So now, but if you clear that entire goods which you have imported, tell me, are you required to pay custom duty on that entire clearance immediately? Yes, then that will be a lot of burden on the SSC. There will be a lot of working capital which will be blocked over there. So instead of that, he can ask to deposit in warehouse, and in the piecemeal manner he can remove from the warehouse, and that at that time he can pay the duties and taxes on that amount. So automatically his liability might get spread over the particular period. That might be one of the reason. So basically, you want to defer your liability. Another reason can be space constraint, space restriction. So you imported certain goods, but you don't have that much space to keep, etc. So you keep it in the warehouse and you get it cleared later on. Or another reason can be someone might think that from warehouse, instead of clearing for home consumption, direct we are going to export. So it totally makes sense. So you need to understand, when you put the goods in warehouse, is it on payment of duty? No. You just give into bond bill of entry, and then there is one more option, that from warehouse directly you can export without payment of duty. So in India the goods never get cleared only. In that case your working capital etc also not blocked. Other way around would have been, the long cut would have been, you import the goods, you clear the goods for in the India, you pay the duty, and then when you export it you claim the refund drawback of the same and all. That can be a cumbersome. So instead of that, you put in warehouse, and from warehouse direct export. From warehouse, then another reason why they put in warehouse, I'll tell you, is from warehouse they can transfer that thing as stores. Transfer that thing as what? Stores for consumption in the foreign going vessel or aircraft without payment of duty, directly from the warehouse. I don't know how many of you know about it or not. In importation exportation under customs, there's a concept that stores can be supplied to the foreign going vessel or aircraft. So what you can do is, instead of importing, clearing for home consumption, and then you export and then claim the drawback of that store, keep that stores in the warehouse and directly supply that stores to the foreign going vessel or aircraft. Are you all understanding? Yes. Another reason can be, from warehouse you supply to duty free shops, and that duty free shop supply to whom? How many of you remember? I don't know. Duty free shop supply to, sir, international tourists who after they are in the international airport, not just any tourist, Nivedita, international tourist, and that too the duty free shops are located out in the international airport on the departure side, and that too after the clearance part of it. So after all your clearance is done, there are certain duty free shops which supply the goods to whom? International tourist, and that too that can be done without duties and taxes. So from warehouse we can supply to them. There are multiple reasons. These are just few examples. How many of you understood this? Yes. Can I go ahead? Okay. In the process, we also understood that when you import the goods and keep it in warehouse, there are multiple options with you. Either you can clear it for home consumption, or you can export it, or you can send it at stores, or you can give it to duty free shops. In fact, you can also abandon some goods. Are you getting my point? You can even abandon the goods. So I'm done with why warehousing. There's no section, no need to buy hard, but we need to understand logically. There might be so many reasons why a person might warehouse the goods. Next. Now I can come to your textbook part of it. Okay. This textbook is nothing but your ICAI module only copy pasted over here. So directly in that first they have given introduction. I have discussed that thing with you in the form of slides, so no need to read from there. Then there is a list of section. So no need to consider the list of section from here, because as and when we study the section, automatically we will get the flow of that sections. Okay. Okay. Now, one doubt coming up from unstudents is, sir, you told that a person can also abandon the goods. So why a person will abandon the goods? Goods can be abandoned when they are in warehouse. This is given in section 68. So I'm not. There are a lot of sections, but in section 68 it is given that when the goods are in warehouse, you can abandon the goods. If you abandon the goods, then the ownership will go to whom? Now ownership will be with the government. Okay. Uh, Basically, will you be required to pay duties, etc., when you abandon the good? When an importer abandons, the only thing that he gets is there will be, when the importer does abandonment, the only thing there will be no duties, taxes. Okay. So then still why he will abandon? Okay, the reason is, let us say you might have some requirement and you might have placed the import order. Goods might have been on the way or something like that, and then your business model only change, or something like corona happens, or some other thing only happens, that now the goods are not going to be useful for you at all. Now imagine you paying duties and taxes and getting it cleared. Now that will be an additional burden on the goods which are not useful. So instead of that, what you can do, Nivedita? Abandon the goods even when the goods are in where. Okay, you can abandon the goods even before import happens. When they are on the dock also you can abandon. In fact, you can abandon the goods even when the goods are in warehouse. That is given in 68, warehouse abandonment. Earlier abandonment, which section we had studied? Anyone other than warehouse? You can abandon the goods when the goods are at the dock. That we had studied in which section? That we had studied in section 23. There were two sections, section 13 and section 23. Section 13 was all about pilferage. Pilferage happening after unloading but before clearance for warehouse, or before clearance for home consumption. During the time the goods are in the custody of the custodian, pilfer happens, that is 13. Section 23, there were three things. Lost, destroyed, anytime before order for clearance for home consumption was part of 23. That was quite wide. Lost or destroyed anytime before order for clearance for home consumption. So even lost, destroyed in warehouse was also covered in 23 only. But in 23 there was one more thing, abandonment. In 23 abandonment was covered, but only when the goods are not yet cleared for warehousing or not yet cleared for home consumption, when the goods are at the dock. In that case the abandonment was covered in 23. So where the abandonment about warehousing is covered, in warehouse also you can abandon the goods. Where it is covered? Section 68. It says that the goods can be abandoned even when it is warehouse. The best benefit they get is no duties and taxes on the same. But what if, let us say, I will discuss one more case since this is asked now. What if that goods are there in the warehouse and offers appears to have been committed? Then can you abandon the goods? Can you say, bye bye, I am going home? No. No, boss. If an offense appears to have been committed, then you cannot abandon the goods. Or else all people will try to do offense. If they are caught, they will tell, okay, abandonment, bye, going home. Nonsense will happen then. Am I very clear with this, Nivedita? Entire thing crystal clear? Okay, sir. Yes, coming back. So now from your module or your textbook, whatever it is, you can directly come to types of warehouse. So how many types of warehouse are there? I just discussed in very brief when we started this topic. Three types of warehouse are there. So public, private, special. Public, private, special. Because warehouse has been defined as, warehouse means public warehouse. Now public warehouse is licensed under section 57, or a private warehouse which is licensed under section 58, or a special warehouse which is licensed under section 58A. So warehouse has three types: public warehouse licensed under 57, private warehouse either licensed under 58, special warehouse licensed under 58A. All of them are considered as warehouse. Clear? Now, let us study about all the three warehouses in detail from this chart itself. How much I mark, that much only you need to consider, everyone, in this chapter. So I am very, very particular about it. Now this chart, okay, we are going to consider. First thing, public warehouses. Public warehouses, they should be basically licensed under which section? Public warehouse. Public warehouse are licensed under section 57. They are licensed under section 57. Who is going to give that license? Principal Commissioner of Customs or Commissioner of Customs. He is going to give that license. He is going to give that license. Am I very clear with this? Principal Commissioner of Customs or Commissioner of Customs is going to give the license. The site or the building is to be licensed by him. So he will inspect and accordingly give you the license. Now, dutiable goods may be deposited over here. So any person's dutiable goods can be deposited over here because it is which warehouse? A public warehouse. So basically, I can also deposit my goods over there. Aditi can also deposit. Riya can also deposit. Akansha can. Everyone can deposit. Next comes private warehouse. Private warehouse, they are licensed under section 58. Obviously, against licensed by whom? The Principal Commissioner of Customs or Commissioner of Customs. He will check that site, building. He will see everything is proper and give the license over there. But over here, only the dutiable goods imported by a licensee are deposited. So this is private warehouse. Let us say government gives Vinesh Savla a license to operate a particular warehouse. So Vinesh Savla will be licensor or licensee? Licensee. So only my dutiable goods which I have imported can be deposited in my private warehouse. Do you get my point? Now, be it public warehouse or private warehouse, be it of public warehouse under 57 or private warehouse under 58 of the which act? In default, which act we study? The Customs Act 1962. They are record based. There are record based controls over there and there is no customs law. Means whatever goods come over there, whatever goods are removed over there, record of everything is maintained and control is based on that records. There is no customs law. What do you mean by customs law? Ideally, customs law means if it is very strict, then it would have been when the goods are coming in warehouse, they will be kept under the customs supervision. There will be officer. Then that warehouse will be locked. No one will be allowed to remove or deposit without the permission of officer. Means physical checking is there. If there is a lock. Lock means what? Which check? Physical check. Lock means which check? Physical check. Officer is there. But over here, what do you observe in case of public private warehouse? There is lock or there is no lock. What they have told. There is no customs lock. So there is which supervision, which control? Record based controls are there. Means is it like self-assessment? What do you think? More or less, yes. You yourself will maintain the records, goods will come, goods will go, all the records will be maintained and accordingly they will be checked. It will not be that an officer will be continuously stationed at that warehouse and checking everything. No. So is it mild or very harsh? Public private warehouses? It's mild. It's not harsh. Public. Next comes special warehouse. Special warehouse are licensed under 58A. This site or building again is licensed by the Principal Commissioner of Customs or Commissioner of Customs. Over here, dutiable goods which are notified may be deposited. So only notified goods can be deposited over here. So can you give example of notified goods in case of special warehouse? I'll give you example. No need to by heart that notified goods. Gold, silver. Do we need to take special care regarding these goods? Because a lot of fraud can happen regarding this, because their weight is less but their value is very high. Yes. So some dutiable goods are there which are notified. They can only be deposited in the special warehouse. They remain under the physical record of the proper officer. Physical control, physical record will be there. In fact, every time the goods is deposited in that warehouse, removed from their warehouse, it is under the custom supervision, under the supervision of the officer continuously. Physically, he is going to supervise. It is going to be under the customs lock. Once he is going to move from that, he will lock the warehouse and go. And the key of that warehouse will be with whom? Us or the officer? Officer. So that is special warehouse, that will be under the customs lock. How many of you understood? And it will be under the physical record of the proper officer. So is it strict or mild? The special warehouse concept. Obviously the special warehouse concept is a strict one. So after that, you will just mark up something about special warehouse. Special warehouse means remains under the physical control of the proper officer. Such warehouses are to be caused by the law, are caused to be locked by the proper officer, and no person will enter the warehouse or remove the goods from there without the permission of that officer. Clear? Now, can you deposit any goods in this, or only the notified goods can be deposited in the special warehouse? Only the notified goods can be deposited in the special warehouse. Only the notified goods can be deposited in the special warehouse. Can I go ahead? Did you observe how much marking I did over there? Yes. Few points I wrote it above only, that examples are gold, silver, and I told only notified. Okay, next. Sir, once we get a license, be it of private warehouse, public warehouse, special warehouse, do we have to renew that license yearly? Question mark. Or is the license is valid till it is cancelled? What do you think? Now, the license is not required to renew it annually. Further, it is not transferable and be valid till the cancellation or surrender. So, once you get a license, that's it. You need not renew every year. Further, it is non-transferable. I get the license. Can I transfer that license? Okay, Aditi, you use that license. No, non-transferable. And it will be valid till it is cancelled or surrendered. If you want to get it cancelled, you will have to make a return request. Licensee will have to make a return request if he wants to get it cancelled. Anyone any doubt till here? Can I go ahead? Cancellation of license. See, we got the license either in 57, or we got the license in 58, or we got the license in 58A. Now that license can be cancelled in 58B. Are you getting the flow also? Okay, sir. No. Who can cancel your license? Let us remember. Who gave you? Principal, commissioner, or commissioner. So the person who gave you can cancel it also. The principal commissioner or commissioner can cancel your license. He may cancel it if basically the license is just contravention of any law, or he breaches the conditions based on which the license was granted. He contravenes the provisions of the sections. He breaches the conditions on the basis of which the license was granted. So obviously the principal commissioner or commissioner may cancel the license. May it is not shall. So it depends upon the principal commissioner. He will decide it. Now, before cancellation, will he give OBH? OBH means what? Opportunity of being heard. Yes, he has to give you a reasonable opportunity of being heard. Anytime a harsh order is going to be passed under any laws like this, they have to give a reasonable opportunity of being heard. This is also known as principle of dash natural justice. This is the principle of natural justice, of giving a reasonable opportunity of being heard to the licensee, because against him a very harsh thing is going to happen, cancellation of license. Now, sir, let us say we have got the license to operate the warehouse. Officer wants to cancel it, so he has initiated the process of cancellation by giving me a show cause notice and giving me a reasonable opportunity of being heard. So the proceedings of cancellation are going on. Till now the cancellation order is not passed. In the meantime, can my warehouse be suspended? Warehouse license be suspended? Answer is yes. In the interim period, pendency of any inquiry under this section, then the operations of the warehouse will be suspended. Operation of the warehouse will be suspended. Clear? This is similar to what happens in GST registration. In GST registration, when you apply for cancellation or when the officer wants to cancel, pending the proceedings, the registration is what? Suspended. Similarly, over here, warehouse operation is what? Suspended. If warehouse operation is suspended, can you deposit the goods in the warehouse? New goods in the warehouse? No. No goods shall be deposited in the warehouse. Fresh goods cannot be deposited. If whatever are there in that warehouse might remain for some time, or you can remove it, but no new goods shall be deposited during the period when the license is suspended or the operations are suspended. What if the license get cancelled? Then what to do? Imagine I have a warehouse, the license of that warehouse gets cancelled, but the goods might still be there in the warehouse. What to do of that goods? Goods shall be removed to another warehouse, or goods may be cleared for home consumption within 7 days from the date of order of cancellation, within 7 days, or within further extended period as may be allowed by the proper officer. You have to either transfer it to another warehouse, or you have to get it cleared for home consumption, export, etc. So maximum after cancellation, how much time you get, Ria? How much times you get, how much days you get after cancellation? Only 7 days. Only how many days? 7 days. Now my doubt is, see, during suspension or after cancellation, also for sometimes the goods remain in warehouse. Maybe even after cancellation, you have how many days to remove it? 7 days. So maybe 3, 4, 5 days it is in the warehouse. What about that? Till the time goods are deposited in the warehouse, whether due to suspension, etc., they continue to be covered by the warehousing provision. Means till the time they are in the warehouse, maybe during that 7 days or maybe during suspension, warehousing provision will apply. Means if they remain in the warehouse beyond certain time, then the interest will be there. We'll study all that thing. When they are cleared from the warehouse, then accordingly duties will be there. We'll study all that thing. But till the time they remain in the warehouse, the provisions of warehousing will be applied on them, even if the license is suspended, even if the license is cancelled. Any doubt till here? No. During suspension of license, can you deposit goods in warehouse, Ria? I've taught you, I'm just asking. During suspension of warehouse, can you deposit new goods in that warehouse? Ria, tell me. No, sir, no. Next, warehousing bond. Hey, which bill of entry we file at that time? We have to give the bond into bond bill of entry. That is when the goods are at the custom station and you want to clear it for warehousing, you apply into bond bill of entry. At that time you give the bond and the proper officer is satisfied everything is proper, then only will pass the order. Okay, deposit it in the warehouse. So you have to give the warehousing bond. We'll consider that. Importer who is desirous of warehousing will execute an indemnity bond to cover the risk of the government revenue for the goods in respect of which into bond bill of entry has been filed. He will bind himself to comply with all the provisions regarding the same and to pay on or before the date specified in the demand notice all duties, interest, penalties, fines, etc., which might be there. For that you give the bond. You promise in that bond that I'll pay all the duties, interest, taxes, even the penalties, fine which are levied in respect of goods. I'll pay all of them, all of them. That is the promise which you give when you give the bond. Now the bond you can give it for a particular consignment, that is known as consignment bond, or you can give a general bond for a particular period. Maybe you give a bond for a year. So during that year, whatever imports you do can be adjusted from that. So is it a specific bond or a general bond? General bond. So two options are there. Either you give particular consignment bond only, that is this bond is only there for this consignment, or you can give a general bond which is for a period, maybe a year or so, like that. Clear? Okay. The bond is going to be with security. So you may also give the particular amount of security along with the bond. Okay. And that security will be prescribed. They will tell how much security you have to give with the bond. Next, amount of the bond will be thrice the amount of duty. Did I tell you earlier that the bond which you are going to give is thrice the amount of duty? Now, is it thrice the amount of duty plus interest or plus penalty, or is it thrice the amount of duty only? It's thrice the amount of duty only. So whatever is the duty amount, only take that much into 3 times that much bond you have to give. Now why they have kept thrice the amount of duty and not equal to the amount of duty? Because when you do any problematic things under customs, what all things you will have to pay to the government? The duty, the interest, the penalty, the fine, so many things you have to pay. So if you give a bond only equal to the duty, it will not be able to cover all of them. Therefore, you have to give the bond which is thrice the amount of duty so that you can cover all of them. How many of you got my point? Yes, sir, we understood the point. Can I go ahead with the next point? Yes, sir. Okay, so let us go ahead. Next thing over there is general bond. Because I told you that you can give a specific bond, you can give a general bond. Okay, in case of specific bond, how much should be the bond amount, Aditi? So thrice the amount of the duty, thrice the amount of the duty. Now, in case of general bond, who will tell you? Because general bond will be like, I'll tell the officer I want to give the bond for the entire year. Okay, and during that year I can import against that bond. So assistant or deputy commissioner may permit to allow you to execute a general bond, okay, in such a amount as he may approve in respect of the warehousing of the goods for that specified period. So that officer will tell you, okay boss, this much amount of bond you have to give. How the officer is going to determine the bond amount? Bond amount will be determined by the officer having regards to your past past goods which have been warehoused and the duty involved in them, and the anticipated future imports and the duties involved in them. That he will consider all that thing and he will decide, okay boss, basically how much amount of general bond you should give. So I'm done with that much. Let us go ahead with the next one. Then this general bond is a running account. So when I give a bond over there, that bond will have a running account, and how much bond I give, that will be the credit balance. So I'll show you. I don't know whether you will be able to understand this or not. This is my bond. In case of general bond, it's a running account. It's which account? Running account. So whenever we give the bond, that much amount of money is available over here. Okay. This is debited when the imported goods are warehoused. So when you import it in future, imported goods are warehoused, that much bond is used. Bond is used. So since the bond is used, there will be a debit in that bond account. Obviously, thrice the amount of the duty, that much debit will happen. So let us say I gave a 1 lakh bond. Now I imported goods with a duty of 10,000. So 10,000 into 3. 30,000 will be the debit. Still I have 70,000 bond. Can I import further goods over there, Ria? Yes, under bond, because my bond still have the balance. Okay. Now, credited when the warehouse goods are cleared, X bond on payment of duty. In future, when I clear this imported goods, so warehouse goods cleared to home consumption. So in that case, this 30K will be credited again, because that much bond is free now. You can use it for any other purpose. So it's a running bond. It will come, go, come, go, come, go. I hope everyone understand how the running bond account is maintained. Sir, we have given a bond, we have deposited in the warehouse. From that warehouse, it is transferred to another warehouse. Will the bond continue? Yes, bond will continue even if the goods are transferred from one warehouse to another warehouse. What if the goods are transferred from one person to another person? In that case, the other person will have to give the new bond. Obviously, if the goods are transferred to another person, then the transferee will have to execute the bond and give that security. Obviously, only one bond warehouse to another warehouse, then the bond is going to continue. But if from one person to another person, have I ever taught you that within the warehouse a person can sell the goods? How many of you remember that? I imported the goods without payment of duty A. I am A. I kept the goods in the warehouse. Now, in the warehouse, A sold to B. Can that happen? Who will clear it for home consumption then later on? Obviously, sir, B will clear. So, who will file the X bond thing and who will pay the duties? The B. How much that duty will be there? That all things is also taught to you. Correct? Okay. And within the warehouse, A sells to B. In GST, what I have taught to you about that? A sells to B in the custom bonded warehouse. What I have taught to you about that in GST? So, as per Schedule 3 of the CGST Act 2017, it's neither supply of goods nor supply of service. It is not a supply at all. Further, in ITC chapter, I have told you that transaction, when we do that proportionate calculation under Rule 42-43 ITC, it's neither a part of E nor a part of F in that into E upon F formula. Everyone, do you remember? Yes? Linkage? Okay, you remember? Fine. If you don't remember, you can turn your pages and check. I have just told you extra for this chapter. Even if I had not told that part, I would have found. But I wanted to make you all remind or recollect that. And the number of times I make you remind about that, automatically the next time you are going to, high chances of you remember that. So, Nivedita, did you remember it or basically remembered? Wow. So that is the purpose is achieved in that case. Then next, see, once you have done all your things, you have filed into bond bill of entry, you have given the bond, but goods are still at the dock, customs area. Who has to pass the order for clearance and deposit in the warehouse? Which officer? Proper officer. That is section 60 order. Section 60 order means officer will pass a order that, okay boss, from the custom station now you can take the goods to warehouse. You are allowed to clear the goods to warehouse, not for home consumption. Where? To warehouse you can clear. That is section 16. So once the importer has furnished the bond with security, complied with the provisions of 59, and the proper officer is fine, feels that everything is proper, then proper officer may make an order permitting deposit of the goods in the warehouse. So can he make this order electronically? Yes, he may even make it electronically, not a problem. So orders can be passed how? Electronically. Next, warehousing period. Very, very, very important. Sir, for how much time the goods can remain in the warehouse? Okay. It depends upon case to case basis. I cannot basically think that I have imported the goods till my lifetime. I'll keep the goods in that warehouse only. Gosh, who is losing the duty over there or getting the duty in a delayed manner? Obviously, the government. So government is going to fix, okay, this is the period within which you have to clear from the warehouse. No. Okay, but there are some people who always get the benefit. EOUs, EHTP, STP. EOUs, EHTP, STP. Export oriented unit. Electronic hardware technology park, software technology park. There are different parks. Their main purpose is what? Exports. EOU, EHTP, STP have to constantly keep track of multiple warehousing bonds and the extension thereof. Means multiple type they have to take extensions because they have to keep the goods for a longer time for them. Special provision that they can keep the capital goods in the warehouse till their ex bonding. Means, is there a limit or no limit? No limit. Further, goods other than the capital goods can be kept in the warehouse till their ex bonding or till their consumption also. Means, again, is there a limit or no limit? No limit. Capital goods can be kept in the warehouse till their ex bonding, means till you file ex bond bill of entry, means you can file anytime, 2 year, 3 year, 10 year, 15 year. Goods other than capital goods can be kept in the warehouse till the time of their ex bonding or you consume it in the warehouse itself. Means for EOU, EHTP, STP, is this a liberal provision? Yes, you can keep it for a long period of time. Similarly, warehouses where the manufacture or other operations are permitted, for them also this provisions apply. I import the goods and I take the permission of the proper officer that inside the warehouse only I'll do manufacture, inside the warehouse only I'll do other operation and then clear the goods. In that case, they will not give you time limit that you can keep the goods in warehouse for the time, because manufacturing might take time. So you are allowed to keep the goods over there for longer period. Clear? So, but one doubt, why a person will means on importing the goods, why he'll transfer to warehouse, and in warehouse why he'll do manufacture or other operations? Question mark. How many of you get this doubt? Okay. Imagine I import mobile phones, and instead of importing mobile phones, I import components and then assemble itself in India. From Indian government point of view, importing the entire mobile, is it better, or don't import the entire mobile, just import certain parts, rest procure from India, do the assembling manufacturing of that in India, and you can use a make in India tag. So which is better? Obviously second one, because it will give more employment to the people in the country, less foreign exchange loss will be there to the government, and so on so forth. So there will be a lot of benefits which will be available to the government. Therefore, this warehousing or other operations which are done in the manufacturing or other operations which are done in warehouse, government promotes them. Government promotes them. How many of you understood? So for them also, they can keep it till the time of their ex-bonding or consumption, as the case may be. What about other goods? Okay, so beneficial things are done. Beneficial things are done. What about other goods? In case of other goods, warehousing period is till the expiry of 1 year from the date of order permitting removal of goods from the customs station for deposit in the warehouse. In section 61, order was passed. What order was passed in section 60? Yeah, that okay, boss. Now you can take the goods from the customs station and deposit where? Warehouse. The date of that order, Aditi, the date of that order, from the date of that order within till the expiry of 1 year, from the date of that order till the expiry of 1 year, that much time where you can keep in warehouse, you can keep. So my doubt is, the warehousing period starts from the day the goods reach the warehouse, or the warehousing period of 1 year starts from the date of order permitting depositing of the goods in warehouse? Tell me. The period of 1 year starts from the date of order permitting deposit of the goods in warehouse. Star mark. Remember this. I've seen a lot of students doing mistakes over there. They think that if the goods reach warehouse on a particular date, from that 1 year is allowed. No, boss. 1 year is not from that date. 1 year is from the date of order which allowed you to deposit in the warehouse. Sir, one doubt. If 1 year, even within 1 year, you are not able to clear from warehouse, can that be extended? Yes. Principal commissioner or commissioner may extend the warehousing period by not more than 1 year at a time. So is it only 1 year, or maximum 1 year at a time? He can extend 1 year at a time. In future, that can also be extended again, but 1 year at a time whenever he extends. How many of you understand the meaning of at a time? Okay. Sometimes when we read now, we miss certain words, and that is where we start making mistakes in interpretation of the law. But when you read law, how you should read, if you are reading principal commissioner, okay, may extend the warehousing period, okay, by not more than 1 year at a time, okay, then you will get that entire essence of that. Yeah, but you should also know one more thing, other way around. Extension can be reduced also based on the shelf life. Okay, tell me, if the goods are lost or destroyed, can the duty be remitted? Yes. In fact, you can abandon the goods. So if the goods have short shelf life and they give a lot of extension, obviously if the goods get spoiled, the person will try to abandon and all. So there will be a lot of problems. So in case of goods with less shelf life, they will not extend it much, because or else that will be a revenue loss to the government. Now all the things we studied over there is summarized over here. So goods for 100% EOU, EHTP, STP, or warehouse where manufacture or other processing is done. In that case, capital goods till the time of clearance you can keep it in the warehouse. For other goods till the time of consumption or clearance you can keep it in the warehouse. Other than above, normal person, be it capital goods or be it for other than above, be it capital goods or be it other goods, everything over here only. Then 1 year from the date of order permitting deposit of the goods in the warehouse, you can keep it in the warehouse. Can I go ahead? Yes. Next one, interest on the warehouse goods. Now, tell me, in case of 100% EOU, EHTP, STP, or warehouse where manufacture or other operations are undertaken, till how much time you can keep the goods in warehouse, Vishri? Sir, no problem. Till the time of ex-bonding, till the time of consumption, you can keep it. So, since the provisions are so liberal, will they charge interest? No. So, interest on warehouse, no interest is chargeable for the period when the goods are warehoused in case of that EOU, EHTP, STP, or warehouse where manufacture or other operations is permitted. Four things are there. EOU, EHTP, STP is there, or another warehouses where manufacturing other operations are permitted. There's no interest chargeable on the goods that remain in the warehouse. What about other cases? Now, be very careful over there. In other cases, be it capital goods or other goods, in other cases, for how much time Drishti you can keep the goods in warehouse? 1 year from the order, date of order, and that can further be extended by 1 year at a time. So you can keep that goods also warehouse for long period of time, but you have to remember interest meter will start earlier. Interest is charged on the duty deferred on the warehouse goods beyond a period of 90 days. Period of 90 days will be computed from the date on which the proper officer gives out of charge order on an into bond bill of entry. Means officer gives the order permitting deposit of the goods in warehouse. From the date of order permitting deposit of the goods in warehouse, from that a period of 90 days starts. For a period of 90 days, you can keep the goods in warehouse interest free. But from 91st day, interest meter will start. So my doubt is, can we keep goods in the warehouse for 1 year, plus it can be extended for 1 year at a time and further extension? Yes. So can you keep the goods in warehouse for longer period? Yes, you can keep, but you have to be very careful. Once a period of 90 days from the date of order permitting deposit in the goods gets completed, what is going to start? Interest meter is going to start. So you can keep, but you have to keep in mind that you will have to pay interest at the rate of 15%. Now what will be the start date of this interest? What will be the end date of the interest? Think about it. Interest meter will start immediately after that 90 days, means from the 91st day from the date of the order permitting clearance. Up to 90 you are not going to count. 91st you are going to count, my dear students. 91st you are going to count. Clear? Okay. And then till the date you make the payment, 15% per annum interest in case of warehousing. So will you remember this and put it in your chart? Yes. Mark my words, dear students. In your May 22 exam, question will be on this interest. What did I just say? Question will be on this interest. If it comes, what you are going to do? You are going to remember me. How you are going to start calculating it? From which day? 91st day, till the date you make the payment. Am I very clear with this? See, these provisions were important about interest, but you know the best part is this chapter is included for the first time in your syllabus after a long period of time, actually from May 22 and onwards. It was not there in November 21 exam, and interest is their favorite area, and those students who might have not studied this chapter might answer it as per the interest provision studied somewhere else. How much they are going to get in that case? 0, because start date is only different. And will ICAI allow to ask this question? Obviously yes. Can I go ahead? Next, board may waive the interest in individual cases on ad hoc order or by notification for a particular class of goods. So overall interest can be waived depending upon a special order will be there to waive interest in specific cases, or a notification will be for class of the goods. Okay. Further, the board may also notify the class of goods in which the interest will be chargeable from the date of order, and no, you would not wait for 90 days also. From the date of order only the interest meter will start, but they will notify that. So till in your syllabus you don't have such notified things. Clear? So this interest is summarized in that table. In case of capital goods or other goods, all types of goods for 100% EOU, EHTP, STP, or the warehouses where manufacturing or other operations are permitted, no interest. In case other than above, be it capital goods, be it other goods, interest is payable if the goods remain in the warehouse beyond 90 days. Okay, from the date of order permitting clearance. Now 90 days from where you have to start counting this day? From the date enters the warehouse, or from the date of order permitting deposit? From the date of order permitting deposit. Okay. Rate is 15%. Duty is payable at the time of clearance. Start will be from the expiry of 90 days. So 91st is going to be counted till the date you make the payment. The payment date also will be counted. Now there are very important case laws over there. We are not going to remember the name, but the content of that is important for me. Okay. Imagine a person deposited the goods in warehouse, and then he cleared the goods from home consumption. He cleared it late.
So normally, he cleared beyond 90 days. Maybe within 1 year or extended period, but he cleared after 90 days. So normally, is there interest there? Default cases, interest is there. Now, when he cleared, no duty was there on that goods. So interest will be how much? 0 into 15% into 0 into anything is what? 0. If you don't take efforts, your efforts is 0, then you multiply it by anything. Good teacher, good books, anything. Your result will be what? 0. Okay. If no custom duty is payable at the time of clearance of the goods, no interest will be payable. Interest is the accessory to principal. If principal is 0, then interest is also 0. Star mark. 0, 0. My favorite one, 0. Yeah. But if we remember this 0, how much marks we are going to get? Full marks. If we remember that if the principal is 0, then the interest is 0. Next. If the goods are not removed from the warehouse after the expiry of the period or the extended period, means you are allowed to keep the goods in the warehouse for a particular period, but you don't remove within that period, you don't remove within the extended period, have you violated the provisions? Yes. Will they get angry on you? Yes. It will be deemed that your goods are improperly removed. It will be deemed the goods are improperly removed. Deemed removal. Deemed means dog is cat. Imagine your goods are in warehouse. You have not removed the goods from the warehouse. Period has expired. So practically speaking, have you removed? No. But will they deem? Yes, they will deem that the goods are removed. But how they are removed? Improperly removed. Now, in case of warehousing, have I ever taught you the relevant date for rate of duty and tariff valuation? Okay, what is the relevant date of rate of duty and tariff valuation for warehoused goods? Tell me, you have already told, but repeat. So the date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption, that is ex-bond bill of entry. Do you remember, everyone? But imagine, these goods, are they actually removed or they are deemed removed? They are deemed improperly removed on the expiry of that period. So will an ex-bond bill of entry would have been filed or not filed at that time? No, because actual removal has not happened. Then what will be the relevant date? Star mark. The rate of duty applicable in such case will be the rate in force on the date of deemed removal, because you now don't have the date of filing ex-bond bill of entry, date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption, you don't have. So the date on the rate on the date of deemed removal, that is the date on which the permitted period comes to an end. Whatever time was allowed to you, including extended, that ends and you have not yet removed. The day on which it ends, it is deemed that you have removed on that, and that date of deemed removal is considered as a relevant date for the rate of duty. Star. How many star moon you want to give? One more. Have I asked you to make relevant date table? Relevant date table, did I ask you to make? Yes or no? Tell. Yes, sir. In the earlier lectures you had told. So will you add that in this, at this point in that table? Obviously, sir. We'll add it. So can't you only give us the table? No, no spoon feeding, my dear students. Make it. If you make it, you are going to score marks. Next. So can't we apply the normal provision that in case of warehouse goods, the relevant date is the date of presentation of bill of entry for home consumption? No. There's no application of the regular rules, because over here bill of entry for home consumption is not normally presented. In fact, the goods are deemed to be improperly removed. No application of the regular rule. Clear? Can I go ahead? Next, illustration number 1. Okay, I don't know whether I will be able to get it proper or not. Let us see. Mr. X, importer, other than 100% EOU, STP, EHTP, imported some goods and deposited them in the warehouse on 12th of April. Goods were re-exported without payment of duty on 15th of August. Can you re-export it from warehouse? Did I tell you that from warehouse either you can clear for home consumption or you can re-export? Yes, okay. Calculate interest payable by X. First of all, we will assume that order permitting deposited in the goods is 12th April. So from that, you can keep it in the goods for whatever time is allowed. But if you don't clear within 90 days, what is going to start? The interest meter is going to start, correct? Now, let us calculate 90 days from 12th of August. 12th of April. I don't know whether you will be understand. Okay. 12th of April, from 12th of April, I want to calculate 90 days. So 13th will be counted, 12th will not be counted. In April total, how many days are there? 30 days are there. Out of that, 12 days we don't want to count. 12 days we don't want to count. So that will be how much? 18. April 18. Out of 90, 18 gone. Then May, June. So by July particular date, you should have cleared. It's 60, 70, 79 already done. In 190. So 11 days. Are you understanding what I am doing? April, May, June, July. So you have cleared late. So interest is there, but it is exported without duty. So duty is how much? 0. So interest will be how much? 0. Even if it is after 90 days. Oh, wow, wow. Understood. Can I go ahead with the next question? Good it was. Good. No interest. Pratibha processors. Maybe if you have some Baidyanath Shankpushpi extra eaten and you can remember some extra things, then this Pratibha processors is a good one for exam. Because it says no duty, no interest. Pratibha processors case of Supreme Court. Okay. Sir, we don't remember the name Pratibha Vatiba. So as per Supreme Court decision. If we don't remember the court name, as per the decision by the court. Or as per the decided case law. Okay. We have solution for all of them. Next, illustration number 2. Validity of the following statements means whether the statement are valid or invalid, you have to tell. Goods other than the capital goods which are intended to be used by an 100% EOU can be warehoused only till the expiry of 5 years. What? Have I taught you 5 years, something like that? No, invalid. Next, capital goods can be warehoused till the time of their ex bonding, means till the time they are cleared from the warehouse. Ex bonding, you can keep it. Whatever they say. And other than capital goods, you can keep it till the clearance from the warehouse or for their consumption. Fine. Next, interest free period of 90 days in respect of warehouse goods not intended for 100% EOU commences from the date on which into bond bill of entry is presented. Does 90 days starts from into bond bill of entry presentation, or the 90 days starts from the date of the order permitting deposited of goods? Order permitting deposit. Invalid. What knowledge they have? We have better one. Can I go ahead? Next. Owner's rights to deal with the goods when the goods are warehoused. So when the goods are warehoused, ideally they are under whose control, whose supervision? Our, or there might be some person who might be supervising it, controlling it. Now that person is known as warehouse keeper. Tell me, who is that person? Warehouse keeper. So when the imported goods are warehoused, temporary possession and the custody of the goods is with the warehouse keeper. However, the titular rights are with the owner, means owner still has the title. Since owner still has the title, only the custody and the possession is with the warehouse keeper, under section 64, they have allowed owner to do certain things, or have given owner the access to goods. So owner might have access to the goods, and in course of dealing with the goods, he may inspect the goods, he may ensure that the goods does not deteriorate or get damaged. For that, he can take certain actions, he can sort the goods, he can show the goods for the sale. Okay, so these are the rights of the owner when the goods are in the warehouse. Obviously, when the goods are in the warehouse, it is in the control of the warehouse keeper, custody of the warehouse keeper, but still the owner has the title. So owner can inspect the goods, owner can do certain things to ensure that the goods do not deteriorate or get damaged, owner can sort the goods, owner can show the goods for sale to someone. Clear with this, everyone? Anything, any rocket science in it, or straightforward provision? No sir, it's a straightforward provision. You can go ahead with the next one. Okay, now let us go for the next part about manufacture or other operations which you can do in the warehouse. Owner of the warehouse goods may carry on manufacturing process or other operations in relation to that warehouse goods in a custom bonded warehouse. So you can do that. Okay. After manufacture, the goods produced may either be exported out of India or it may be cleared for home consumption. So you import the goods, you keep the goods in warehouse. At that time, you just give into bond bill of entry. You don't pay the duty. You just give a bond thrice the amount of the duty. Now, when the goods are in the warehouse, you can do manufacturing or other operations on that goods. After that, either from the warehouse you can export it directly, or you can clear that goods for home consumption. Even after manufacturing or processing is done. Now, if you export, will the government give you benefit? Imagine you import the goods, don't clear it for home consumption, keep it in warehouse, and in the warehouse you do the manufacturing, in the warehouse you do the other processing, and from that you are exporting. In that case, duties are fully remitted if the goods are exported. Clear? Duty, interest, fine, penalty, if any, payable only if that goods are cleared for domestic market, means for home consumption. Can I go ahead? Any doubt? Next. Sir, can we do manufacturing or other operation in public warehouse, private warehouse? No. Manufacturing or other operations are only allowed in private warehouse, not in public. So in public warehouse, you cannot do manufacturing or other operation. In private warehouse, you can do it. What about a special bonded warehouse? In special bonded warehouse, it is allowed. Are you seeing what I'm marking? Clear? That much only, sir. Next. Sir, if we want to do manufacturing, processing, are we required to take permission? Yes. Permission can be given by principal commissioner or commissioner. So you have to take his permission. Now, sir, when we do manufacturing, processing in the custom bonded warehouse, maybe the private warehouse or the special warehouse where you can do, because you cannot do in the public warehouse, correct na? In that case, what about the waste or refuse that arise? If you manufacture, can waste or refuse arise? Logically think and tell. You put 100 kilos of input, you give 100 kilos of output, or some might be waste or loss during processing. Obviously, waste or loss during processing can happen. So what to do in that case? Answer is over here. The provisions for the waste. For waste, what are the provisions? So let us study the provisions regarding the same. If whole or part of the goods resulting from that operations are exported, means you are doing manufacturing, processing, and then you are doing? Exporting it. Whole or part you are exporting it. Import duty will be remitted on the quantity of the warehouse contained. Quantity of the warehouse good contained in that waste or refuse which has arisen from that operation in relation to the export. So how much waste is related to the export? In that waste, whatever is the imported goods are hidden, on that duty will be remitted. The only thing is you will have to destroy that waste or refuse. However, such waste or refuse is either destroyed or duty is paid, then you can clear that waste or refuse into India. So normally the main final product, what I am doing? Exporting. Okay, the waste I not export, na? Will other country accept waste? No. So waste is there. That waste, in that waste, can an imported goods be hidden? Yes. On that duty will be remitted provided the main goods are exported and the waste is what? Destroyed. But what if I don't destroy the waste and I clear that waste normally in the domestic area as a scrap? Then whatever is the imported goods hidden in that waste, you will have to pay duty on the same. Clear. Next, what about the waste resulting from the goods which are cleared for home consumption? Whole or part of the goods, if whole or part of the goods resulting from that operations are cleared for home consumption, duty will be chargeable on the quantity of the warehouse goods contained in that waste or refuse as has arisen from the operation in relation to the goods cleared for home consumption. So if I have cleared 10 kilos in the home consumption, waste relating to then 10 kilos, in that waste relating to 10 kilos, whatever is the imported goods hidden, I have to pay duty on the same. Over here there is no clause of destroying etc because duty is going to be there always. So tell me, if the main goods are exported, can I save the duty on the imported goods hidden in the waste, Aditi? Yes, but what I'll have to do? I'll do destroy that waste. So can you give a numerical example and explain this provision? Two examples back to back. This example number 2 and example number 3 are entirely numerical examples to make you all understand how it is going to be calculated. Ready? Wow, it's very interesting examples. So I'll make slides for them also. Example number 2. Now what has happened, I'll tell you. There are two inputs required to make one output. Is it possible? One input you have imported, that is 200 kilos of steel. One domestic purchase of import, that is 100 kilos of plastic. Everything together brought where? Warehouse. And a product manufactured from them is knife. Can you imagine knife? Knife, does it has the steel part and the plastic part? Okay, the blade part is that steel part and the handle part is generally the plastic part. Some things are imported, some things are domestic, you make the knife. Okay, and 400 knives are made with a total weight of 263 kilos, and entirely they are exported. Entirely what they have done? Exported the knives. Can anyone tell me, first of all, waste will be how much? How many kilos of waste? Output is 400 knives, total weight of them is 263 kilos and they have exported. Input was 200 kilos of steel and 100 kilos of plastic. And the output of 263 has 178 kilos of steel and 85 kilos of plastic. So total waste is 37 kilos. Now in that total 37 kilos of waste, how much is the imported product hidden in that? Waste of imported product. Where I have told you that on the diagram, see, whatever exports you have done, 263 kilos, final output, in that 178 is steel and 85 is plastic. So imported product waste is how much? How much kilos of steel was used? 200. Out of that 178 is there in the final product. So 22 kilos of imported product in the waste. Now on this 22 kilos, will the duty be there or not there? Duty on 22 kilos of steel hidden in waste. Steel means imported product. Where it is hidden? Hidden in waste. And what your final output, what you have done, Drishti? Exported. So what you can do, if the waste is destroyed, then no duty. If the waste is cleared for home consumption, then duty on the 22 kilos, not on 37. Am I very clear? How many of you understood? Any doubt on this? Can I go ahead? Okay. So this is that example number 2. Everything printed over there, and they have told that 22 kilos are there. So you can either export, if you have exported the finished goods, you have two options: destroy the waste, no duty. If you don't destroy, you have to pay the duty. Clear? So the remission of duty is there only on the imported material in the waste, is allowed only when that final product is exported and the waste is destroyed. Star mark the conclusion. Both should happen. Final product should be exported and the waste should be exported. Then only imported goods and goods hidden in the waste, on that the duty is going to be remitted. Illustration, example number 3 over there. Example 3. Earlier slide, should I show you, or was that fine? Understood? Understood? Okay. Example 3, complicated comparatively. What they are doing is rubber they are importing. Okay. And then from the normal domestic market, they are using bead wires, tire cord, chemicals, mineral oil, and then they are making tires. So total, these are the inputs, and total of all the inputs is this much. Out of this, this is imported input, and this is the domestic procurance, and they have made used total 1710 kilos to make tires. 100 tires are manufactured, weight per tire is 16.5, output is of 1650 kgs. Can anyone tell me the total waste? 60 kgs. You are using 1710, output is 1650, 60 kgs. Is this 60 kgs only the imported rubber, or domestic items are also hidden in that Drishti? Domestic items are also hidden in that. Okay. Now, wastage is 60 kgs. Out of the 100 tires, 25 tires are cleared for home consumption, 75 tires are exported. 25% home consumption, 75% export, part home consumption. Wow. Now the thing starts on the board. Everyone, see my calculations. Total 1710 used, but output is only 1650. 60 is the waste. Now in that 1710 also, it is 1500 of imported goods and 210 of others. This is imported. This is domestic procurance. This is the total inputs. This is the output. And this is the waste. Clear? Out of the output, whatever output you have, 75% output you have exported. 25% output you have used for domestic procurance, domestic supply, domestic sale. So let us now think what to do of the 60. Are you ready, everyone? We have all the figures with us. Think about the 60 waste. Out of that 60 waste, how much waste relates to export and how much waste relates to domestic sale? Anyone? 60 into 75%, 45 kilos related to export and 15 kilos related to domestic sale. Now, in that 45 kilos, how much imported items are hidden? Because that 45 kilo is waste. In that, both imported items and domestic procurance will be there, because we have used domestic procurance also and imported also. So 45 into 1500 divided by 1710. Can I say 39.47 kilos is the imported hidden in that 45 kilos? How many of you understood? How did I calculate? 45 into 1500 upon 1710. That is basically imported hidden in the waste related to export. This is the total waste. In that export related waste, imported hidden in that exported related waste is 39.47 kilo. Next, import hidden in domestic sale, imported goods hidden in domestic sale, imported items hidden in domestic sale is 15 upon 1500 into 1710. 13.15 kilo or 13.2 kilo they have rounded off. 13.16 kilo, okay, 13.16 kilo. Now, what will happen with this 39.47? What I should do? Anyone? Which they have rounded as 39.5 kilo. What I should do with that? I destroy it, then no duty. Or else there will be duty. How many of you understand this? On this 39.5. What about 13.16, which they have rounded off to 13.2 kilo in the module? Duty is going to be there. Any case. Wow! This is difficult or simple if you apply normal cross multiplication, maths, logic. All my dear students, I feel all of you are capable of doing this. Correct? Can I go ahead? All of you, CA final, cross multiplication, maths, quantitative aptitudes. Yes, sir, we are all good in that. Next. All this done, huh? Till here done. That was good one. Next. Let us say I am importing parts, making mobile. On parts I have to pay high duty. If mobile import I do, I have to pay less duty. Maybe if the duty rate is like this. Let us say parts I import, the duty rates are 30%. Mobile I import, the duty rate is 10%. Now, is the person at disadvantage by manufacturing or processing in India? Question mark. If a person imports mobile, he has to pay 10% import duty. If a person import parts, he has to pay 30% duty. Is this injustice towards the person who import parts and does the manufacturing in that warehouse or something like that? Is that injustice to him? Definitely yes. If the imported material are used for manufacture of a goods and the rate of duty leviable on the imported goods exceeds the rate of duty leviable on the such goods which are manufactured, if a central government, if it is satisfied that in the interest of the establishment and development of the domestic industry it is necessary to do so, it may exempt the imported materials from whole or part of that excess duty. Wow. If you are able to justify to the government, boss, you are doing injustice to us. Those importing directly mobile, on them only 10%. We importing parts, doing manufacturing processing in India. We are doing Make in India initiative. We are giving employment to the people of India. And for us, 30% duty on the parts, nonsense. Why we will work then? Why will manufacture in India? Give us some incentive. Is government is satisfied that in the interest of the establishments for the development of domestic industry it is necessary, the excess duty on that parts can be waived off. Clear? Obviously it will be conditional, that it will tell you that you can use that parts only for the purpose of manufacture processing in the godown and in the warehouse and so on and so forth. Yes. If you understood this, do let me know. That was a small hidden point actually. Next point. Illustration number 3 is a straightforward illustration. That's for you all to just read it later. We go for the concept part of it. Next concept. Removal of goods from the warehouse. See, what are the different ways in which you can remove the goods from warehouse? Either you can transfer the goods from one warehouse to another warehouse, or you can clear the goods for home consumption, or from the warehouse you can export. Are you all aware about this all things? From warehouse to another warehouse you can take. From warehouse to home consumption you can clear. From warehouse to you can export it. Yes, sir. So let us take one section at a time. Let us start with section 67 first. 67 is from one warehouse to another warehouse transfer. From one warehouse to another warehouse transfer is 67. Then for home consumption, it is actually, this should have been bold. So make it bold. So how we will make it bold? It is already printed. Rewrite it. It will become bold. That is section 68. In the 68, there is some extra part also. After that, 69 is, hidden, where clearance of warehouse goods for export. In the next page, it is hidden. You can just bold it. That is 69. So 3 sections which we are going to study. 67 is transfer from one warehouse to another warehouse. 68 is clearance of warehouse goods for home consumption. 69 is clearance of warehouse goods for export. Did you all get the 3 sections at least first place? Okay. 67. They allow you to remove warehouse goods from one warehouse to another warehouse, subject to such condition as may be prescribed for due arrival of the warehouse goods at another warehouse. Permission of proper officer is required. There is a concept of one-time lock which is used. Okay. From the warehouse they are stored, when they are removed, they are locked with a one-time lock, and the goods move, and that lock is opened only when they reach the destination in the supervision, so that there is no fraud in between. If a lock is broken in between, means then they will doubt that some fraud has happened. Huge emphasis is on ensuring proper dispatch under one-time lock from the warehouse where the goods are originally stored, and proper receipt of the warehouse goods at the destination, so that there is no risk to the revenue that some duty is evaded. That's all about warehouse. So from one warehouse to another warehouse, it is transferred under dash one-time lock of customs. Am I very clear with this? So that you can ensure the safe passage. Next, section 68. From warehouse to home consumption, what we have to find? Which bill of entry? Sir, ex-bond bill of entry you have to file to the proper officer. Then the assessment is going to happen. Duty is going to be determined. You have to pay the duty, interest, penalty, whatever is levied. Okay. Once the proper officer is satisfied that all the amounts payable have been paid, okay, he may permit the removal of the goods from the warehouse and pass a suitable order. He can even make the order electronically also. That's all about 68 basic. Any doubt about 68 basic? No. Now, instead of getting the goods cleared for home consumption, can you abandon the goods? Did I tell you that? Can you abandon the goods in the warehouse? Yes, that is given over there. Relinquishment of the title of the warehouse goods. This is a part of 68 only. It's a part of 68 only. Owner of the warehouse goods may anytime before clearance for home consumption is made relinquish, anytime before order of home consumption is made, he can relinquish the title upon payment of any penalties, if any. And upon relinquishment, he will not be liable to pay duty. But owner will not be allowed to relinquish the title where offence appears to have been committed under this law or any other law for timing in force. If offence appears to have been committed, you cannot relinquish the title. Done with that. Now 69. Clearance of the warehouse goods for export. Clearance of the warehouse goods for export. Warehouse goods can be exported without payment of duty in accordance with the provisions of section 69. So warehouse goods can be exported without payment of duty in accordance with section 69. Ship stores can be ship stores are transferred from warehouse to ship stores. That is also considered as export. For instance, ship stores which are meant for export only, or goods which are meant for re-export, etc. So from warehouse directly you can export. Even from warehouse, ship stores which are provided to the vessel, which is a foreign going vessel, that is also considered as an export only. Okay. Did we study about the ship stores in the earlier chapter, importation, exportation under customs? Yes. So at that time I told, from the warehouse, if you transfer it to foreign going vessel or aircraft as stores, it is considered as an export. So it can be done without payment of duty. So let us now go into some detailed part of it. Warehouse goods may be exported to a place outside India. No import duty will be levied on the goods so exported. Shipping bill of export, label, declaration should be presented in the where in respect of that goods sought to be cleared for export. So obviously, but you will have to give the shipping bill of export, etc. Export duty, if any, should be paid. So what is exempted? Only the import duty. You have imported it, kept in the warehouse, and then you are again exporting. That import duty you did not pay. But if the goods are liable for export duty, etc., you have to pay. Tell me, are goods normally liable to export duty, or export duty is very rare? Very rare. Example of export duty I gave. Let us say we had a lot of oxygen shortages in India during Corona. So at that time, temporarily for oxygen exports, they might have levied export duty. That's it. So it's very, 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 very rare, not normally there. Okay. Next. Proper officer should satisfy himself that all regulations, restrictions, prohibitions are complied with or fulfilled. If he is satisfied that the payment of duties, etc., also have been made, if applicable, he may order the clearance of the warehouse goods for export from the warehouse directly. Order can also be made in electronic form, may be made in electronic form. That is there everywhere. Clear? Can I go ahead? Next. If there is an opinion that the goods are likely to be smuggled back into India, then by notification in official gazette, they may direct it that goods shall not be exported to a place outside India without payment of duty, or they may be allowed to be exported subject to some restrictions or conditions. If they feel that today, if we allow them to export without duty, they are likely to be smuggled back into India from gateway of India. Oh, Kasab. Clear? Or problem is going to happen. In that case, they will either tell that you cannot export only without payment of duty, pay the duty, then only whatever you want to do, or they will put up some other conditions and restrictions. Some bold part is there which is only for knowledge, not for exam. Do you see some bold part for knowledge, not for exam? Sir, we are exam oriented. Why we will read also that? Just for your knowledge, some places like Burma, Nepal, Bhutan, etc., where export is done in a vessel less than 1000 tons, so they have a lot of doubt over there. Or stores are transferred on a board where they are less than 200 tons, they have a lot of doubt, so they don't allow it without payment. What doubt they have, that is going to get smuggled back into India. Okay, we need not remember what are that cases. Can I go ahead? Next, allowance for volatile goods. What do you mean by volatile goods? There are a lot of goods which are subject to volatility in quantity, because the quantity reduces due to natural cause of evaporation, etc., or quantity reduces during storage. For them there is a special provision, because if I have imported and kept 100 kilos or 100 liters in warehouse, normally I should remove 100 liters from warehouse, or else they will doubt that I have done some fraud. And that too, I have to remove that 100 liters when, Aditi? Within the time allowed. Okay, 1 year or extended period, and further interest, etc., is also there if 90 days criteria is not met. But imagine in case of volatile goods, if you import 100 liters and you're left only with 90 liters, how you will be able to remove 100 liters? How many of you understood my point? That it was not my mistake that evaporation happened. Now 90 liters are there, that I am removing. Now be happy. How I will be able to remove 100 liters over there? Some cases, the warehouse goods might be subject to normal loss owing to volatility of the goods, volatility of goods, and the manner of storage. For instance, petroleum products, etc. Okay. Now evaporation happens, wine, spirits, etc. which are kept in wooden cask. Why wine spirits are kept in, beers are kept in wooden cask? Has anyone been to Sula vineyard? I see every day this time someone's putting up on Instagram, I'm out over there, Sula vineyard, Sula vineyard. How the as the wine becomes older, it becomes better. So they store ware in wooden cask for years together. And how much old the wine is, that much costly the wine is. How many of you understood it? But obviously, will the quantity get affected because of the natural causes? You might have stored 100 liters. It might be 90 liters, 80 liters. Yes. So examples are given over there. Now what to do? There is generally a difference between the bonded quantity and quantity at the time of removal. You bond 100 liters, but you are able to remove 90 liters only. Now loss is due to natural cause, and neither the importer nor the warehouse keeper is at fault. That is not their mistake that happened. Clear? Now, thus neither the importer nor the warehouse keeper can be asked to bear the duty on that loss. So, final thing, when any warehouse goods have been notified under this section, they have given list, you need not buy it, are at the time of delivery from warehouse found to be deficient in quantity due to natural loss, the ACDC may remit the duty on the deficiency. That is what we have to remember at conclusion of that entire part. That if in warehouse the goods are lost due to natural cause, then you have to apply to whom? ACDC, and he may remit the duty on such deficiency. Okay. Next, this is remission under which section? This is remission under section 70. This is remission under section 70. This is remission under section 70. Section 70 remission and section 23 remission, are they same or different? 23 is general for lost, destroyed before home consumption. 70 is specific for remission in respect of loss in warehousing, that too only on the goods that are notified by the government. So which is specific and which is general? 70 is very specific, okay, and 23 is general. Someone was transferring the goods and the goods was lost in transit before clearance for home consumption. Which section will help? Someone was transferring the goods from one place to warehouse or somewhere. During transit, the goods were lost due to accident. So the goods were lost due to accident before clearance for home consumption, because home consumption clearance was not yet done because the goods were transferred to warehouse. Now, in that case, goods lost anytime before clearance for home consumption, the remission will be which, as per which section? Section 23 and not 70. In 70, it's very specific. In warehouse, there is due to natural cause, there is a loss, and then there is a specific remission over there. So that is also specified over there. Next, say next 71, 72, improper removal. Now, tell me, have I ever told that if the warehousing period expires and that 1 year plus further time allowed, that expires, and you don't remove the goods from the warehouse, what they will deem? They are improperly removed. Clear? Okay. Further, how you should remove from the warehouse, that is also given in 71, that you can remove only in this manner. We already know one form of improper removal, but 71 specifically tells, okay, please remove in this manner only, no other mode is allowed. 71 prohibits the removal of the warehouse goods from the warehouse except clearance for home consumption or export or another warehouse. So as per 71, either you can clear it for home consumption, or you can clear it for other export, or you can clear it for another warehouse. 72, cases where the proper officer may demand full duty with interest, fine, penalty, and owner is required to pay them forthwith. 72 is dangerous. In 72, they will ask full duty with interest, penalty, and you will have to pay that. As per 72, where the goods are removed from the warehouse in contravention of 71, means you have not removed it as told in 71. In 71, you have to remove properly either for home consumption or for warehousing or for export, and that too as per the prescribed manner. If you don't do that, then you have not removed properly as per 71, then you are gone under 72. Or where the goods have not been removed from the warehouse at the expiration of the period for which they were permitted. They were permitted to keep the goods in particular time in warehouse, but within that time the goods were not removed from warehouse, then the goods are deemed to be improperly removed. Yes, because 72 gets applicable. Deemed to be improperly removed, 72. If you don't remove within a particular time, it is deemed that you have improperly removed. Where the goods in respect of which bond has been executed and which are not cleared only for home consumption or exported and are not duly accounted also. Let us say Aditi imported 100 quantities or 100 kilos. Out of that, 90 kilos she exported or cleared for home consumption. 10 kilos she is not able to explain only where they want. Oh man, she had not cleared for home consumption that 10 kilos, she had not exported that 10 kilos, and she is not able to account that 10 kilos also where they have gone. So what they will deem? Some fraud over there by Aditi. Clear? Then 72 will be applicable. 70 enumerate the cases where proper officer may demand full duty along with interest, fine, penalty. Where warehouse goods are removed in contravention of 71. Where the warehouse goods are not removed within the time period allowed under 61. Where the warehouse goods are not cleared for home consumption also, export also, and they are not duly accounted also. So then where they went? Gayab. Importer fails to pay such duty together with interest. In that case, even your goods will be detained and sold as may be sufficient. If you don't pay the duty with interest over here, which you are liable under 72, your goods will be detained and sold. Clear? Before sale, but first notice will be given to owner that we are going to do this. You get the last chance to get it cleared by payment of duty, interest, penalty, or else you are gone. Illustration number 4 is nothing but repetition. What are the cases where goods are said to be improperly removed? That is given in 72. Following circumstances will be considered as improper removal. Where the goods are removed in contravention of 71, or where the goods are not removed for the expiry removed at the expiry of the period for which they were permitted. Still you don't remove, then deemed to be improperly removed. Yes, Aditi? Or basically you have furnished the bond and kept the goods in warehouse. You have not cleared the goods for warehouse for home consumption also, for export also, and you are not able to account it also. The where they went, deemed to be improperly removed. Next, 73, cancellation of the bond. Tell me, when I have given the bond and kept the goods in the warehouse, but after that I clear it for home consumption, or I export it, or I do whatever, means, and it's duly accounted, I do everything properly. So will they cancel the bond which I had given earlier? Obviously yes. How many of you can remember the running bond account? When you give the bond is used, then the debit happens. But everything properly happened, cleared for home consumption or export, then what they will do? They will cancel that. That is recredit. Clear? Did we study this? So that is given over here. When whole of the goods covered in the bond have been cleared for home consumption or export or transferred or duly accounted, and where all the amount due have been paid, the proper officer will cancel the bond as discharged and on demand will deliver the cancelled bond to that person. If everything is proper, then ultimately it will be delivered back also. Next, custody and removal of the warehouse goods. This is a different section, 73A. A licensee shall appoint a warehouse keeper for to discharge the functions on his behalf. Warehouse keeper will be the person in charge of the warehouse, and he will have to maintain the computerized records. So let us say government gave me a license to operate a warehouse, then I become what, Aditi? Licensee. As a licensee, I have to appoint whom? A warehouse keeper. That warehouse keeper will be in charge of the warehouse. He will maintain proper records also. Private public warehouse, it is record based control. Physical control is not there in private public warehouse. Consequently, the responsibility of the warehouse keeper is much more significant in private public warehouse. Why? Because is there a physical control or record based control? There is only a record based control, and who has to maintain that record, Aditi? warehouse keeper. But in case of special warehouses, they remain locked and the removal and deposit is only in the presence of the officer. So over there, the significance of the warehouse keeper will be less. Fine. Okay. Now, warehouse keeper shall maintain the records regarding receipt, handling, storing, removal of goods, each activity, operation in relation to goods, drawal of samples from that goods. He will keep records of everything which happened with that goods. Receipt, handling, storage, removal, activity, operation, samples. He shall keep the copies of the documents evidencing receipt, removal. He will keep the copies of the bond executed. He will keep these accounts records for minimum 5 years from the date of removal. Digital copy will also be preserved at other places other than warehouse. Why? Have you heard recently lot of warehouses fire, everything destroyed? In this 2020-21 I've heard more. I don't know why corona. So might be they only destroyed and then claimed the insurance. I don't know. I'm just telling conspiracy theories. Okay. But whatever is the case, if the warehouse is destroyed, then what will do? Therefore, electronic record has to be maintained at places other than also warehouse, so that even if the warehouse gets destroyed, the records are still intact. Understood? Next. Licensee is responsible for appointment of the warehouse keeper, for providing sufficient facility and equipment and personnel for maintaining and preserving records so that everything is proper. That much, that equipment facilities should be there. That is the responsibility of whom? Licensee. Licensee has to appoint warehouse keeper also. Okay, now warehouse keeper is just a custodian of the warehouse goods. All goods remain in his custody. All goods remain in the custody till they are cleared for home consumption or they are exported. So warehouse keeper is a custodian. In his custody it remains. But if there is a contravention, then will the warehouse keeper liable or the licensee? Licensee will be liable to pay the duty. Star mark. Because who appointed warehouse keeper, Somil? Licensee. So yes, warehouse keeper is a custodian, but any problem happens then the licensee will be liable. And I'm done with this part. I'm done with the chapter. There are 2 questions over there. Both of them are good questions about calculations. If I discuss, then always you are going to get it correct only. So in that case, will you try, everyone? Yes? Okay, so I'm done with that chapter.